Hello, in this video we'll talk about the SmartICS Designer Reports module. First, you need to log in and access the SmartICS main page. To access the Reports module, find the Reports tab in the menu bar and click on it. You are now in the SmartICS Designer Reports module. Let's have a look. The Home tab allows you to edit elements, change position, and style. The Insert tab allows you to add different elements. The Page tab allows you to change the page, the size, orientation, number of columns. The Layout tab allows you to align objects horizontally and vertically. The Preview tab is a tool for viewing, printing, and exporting the reports. The Reports module allows you to create templates. Here's how you do it. Click the menu button to open the side menu in the upper left corner. Click the New button, then Create Window appears. In the File Name field, enter the name of the report template and click OK. Then you will see the message showing that the file was created successfully. Click OK, then the empty report template will appear. Here you can add the necessary information. For example, the headings, any type of diagrams, and so on. Now let's save it. Now it is saved. The created template can be viewed and it could be edited, downloaded, or deleted. The reports module works only with the data retrieved from the database. Thus, SmartICS cannot retrieve data directly from the devices. To do this, you must connect the database to SmartICS. Here's how you do it. Click on the Dictionary tab, click New Item, New Data Source, select SmartICS. The connection will establish automatically and the Select Data window will appear. Select a table from the database, which values and data will be displayed in the report. In our case, MS SQL database is used. Let's select the Archive Items Float table. It is the table where the values from SmartICS devices are written to the report. Click OK. Now let's quickly delete the earlier created graphs. Let's drag and drop the Archive Items Float table to our template. Double-click on the database on the Dictionary tab. Then click on the selected table in which you want to query the database. In this case, the report will display the latest 50 device data. Please note that the following when querying the database. The query which is formed when accessing the database is formed only at the time of forming the report or displaying the query results in the report. When forming the report, the entire amount of the data from the query to the database goes to RAM, so you should not create a query for all the data at once. Next, let's click on OK. Then click the Preview tab and you will see the report. The first column shows the device ID. The second column shows device item ID. The third column shows the quality. The fourth column shows the timestamp. And the fifth column shows the value. The data is written to the database. Thus, the reports module is not writing the device name and the item name to reduce the query volume. We can see only the IDs of the devices and the parameters. In order to reduce the number of queries for reading the devices and parameters and display the devices' names, we can use the option Dataset and Data Tables. Open the Dictionary tab, New Item, New Data Source, Objects, Data from Dataset, and Data Tables tab. In the window that opens, click the pencil icon in the name field. In the source, select SmartICS devices line. In the name and alias fields, you can also leave SmartICS devices name. Then below, click on the Retrieve column button and click OK. In the Dictionary tab, the table SmartICS devices will appear. We can also add parameters. Open Dictionary tab, New Item, New Data Source, Objects, Data from Dataset, and Data Tables. In the window that opens, click on the pencil icon in the name field in the source. Select the line SmartICS parameters. In the name and alias fields, you can also leave the name SmartICS parameters. Then click the Retrieve Columns button and click OK. Now again, in the Dictionary tab, the SmartICS parameters table appears. In the upper left corner, click Save. For the parameters to link correctly in the report, you must also set the data caching. To do that, left-click on the empty field on the right side of the template, and the Properties tab will open. In the Properties data field, enable checkbox Cache all data. Click Save. Then link the Archive Items float and SmartICS devices table to display in the reports the device name columns. In the Dictionary tab, right-click in the Archive Items float table and select New Relation. In the window that opens, select the Archive Items float table in the Child field and select the SmartICS devices table in the Parent field. Select the device ID value as a key. Then in the Dictionary tab, select the Archive Items float and move it to the report table. Then the data window opens. Select the table value and enable the data header checkbox. Next, in the table above, select the necessary checkboxes for the values that will be displaying in the report. Click OK, and then you can preview. In the table created, you will see the device names and values which are displayed in the report. If you need to display a given device and its parameters for a certain period, you can use the variables in the reports module. To add variables to the report template, you start with Dictionary tab, New Item, New Variables. New variable window will appear. Enter start time in the name field. Enter start in the alias field. Enter date time in the type field. And select value. In the initialize field, you can select either values or expression. Let's choose expression, and in the expression field, type datetime.now, with which the current date and time will be displayed in the report. Enable request from user and allow to use as SQL parameter checkbox, and click OK. Now, add the new variable for the end time with the same principle. Open dictionary tab, new item, new variable, open, a window will open. Enter end time in the name field, enter end in the alias field, enter date time in the type field, and select your value. In the initialize field, you can select either value or expression. Let's say select expression again, and in the expression field, type date time.now, with which the current date and time will be displayed in the report. Enable the request from user and allow to use as SQL parameter checkbox, and click OK. Then move these two variables in the report template and click Save button in the upper left corner. Now let's click on Preview tab, where the editable parameters created in the variables will be available. In the Parameters tab, you can change the beginning and end of time and date. Yes, submit, and you apply the data. Next, you need to relate variables with the query. Open Homepage, Data Source tab in the SmartICS field of the Archive Items Float table. Double-click on the table, and in the query text field, type the query. In this query, enter the beginning of date and time as well as end of date and time. You can also enter a query with sorting. Then click OK. Click the Insert tab in the Reports module and add the title. Also insert the text in the opened window. Insert the expression. Expression can be taken out of the start time and end time variable. Now click OK. Next, move to Archive Items Float table in the report template. Let's delete what's not necessary. Enable the necessary checkboxes as device name, device ID, item ID, timestamp, value. Click OK, and then save. Let's go to Preview. Where we will see the report template created with the necessary parameters. However, we will see that the given period, there were not any events with these devices. Now we can change the time and date, and we will see that the necessary values and dates are displayed in the report. Submit, and then we see report preview. Now let's work a little bit with charts and graphs. We will create the chart and relate it to the Archive Items Float table. To add, open the Insert tab, Chart, Clustered column, and move it to the Reports template. Next, the chart settings will open up to set up the values. Then click More Options button to set the parameters with advanced settings. In the window that opens, in the Series tab, and the required number of series with the required values. On the left side, in the Properties tab, set the required column value from the database table in the value line. Also set the required column in the argument line. and enter the series title in the comment field. And one more series with the timestamp value, and which we also set the necessary column from the database table in the value line. Also set the necessary column in the argument line, and enter the series title in the comment field. It is also possible to set a separate name for the chart. To set the title, open Chart, Title tab on the Properties panel. On the text line, enter the title for the chart and enable the visible checkbox. It is also possible to set the view of values in the chart. Open the Labels tab on the left side of the Properties panel. In the angle line, set the required value. Now click OK. Now let's change the number of values to 10 in the Dictionary tab, so it won't be too large of a volume. Archive items float table to make the query not so large. In the upper left corner, click Save, and let's preview. In order to display the necessary value in the graph, let's change the date in the parameters field and click Apply button. Now we see that unfortunately the chart is displayed incorrectly in the report. In order to display the chart correctly in the preview, it's necessary to add bands. Let's consider the possibility of constructing reports with the bands. A band consists of two parts, the band header and the main area of the band. The header shows the name of the band and can display various system information. Each band is a container and can contain other components as well. The position of the components on the band is considered relative to the position of the top corner of the band. Bands are divided in two types, standard bands and cross bands. Standard bands are the basic elements for building reports, whereas cross bands are bands that cannot be put on a page, which allow to build complex cross reports. Okay, to add a band on the report, here is what you have to do. Open the Insert tab, select the band option, the date line, and move the band on the chart in the report template. In the data window that opens, you must select the Not Assigned line, since no data source is required. On the Properties tab, on the Name line, set the necessary name for the band. After you name it, let's save, and let's go to preview again. In the parameters field, set the required date, the start and end, and submit. Now the chart is displayed correctly in the reports. If you need to display two or more tables with the different data in the report, it's necessary to do different SQL queries for each table. Open the Dictionary tab, select the required database table, double-click on it, and enter an additional query. In addition to that, it's possible to apply a filter to a query in the Reports module. To do this, open Dictionary tab, New Item, New Data Source, Objects, Data from Other Data Source. In the opened window, select the needed table, and click Filter button on the right side, and set the necessary values of the query filter. You can also use the data conversion function by clicking the Results button. You can also add various necessary elements to the reports. Let's have a look. The text in cells components are used for creating forms. The image components is used to output images. It's important to remember not to overload the size of the reports in the images. The panel component, which can contain various components and can be moved together, including bands. The clone component is used to clone parts of a report. This component cannot be applied only to the panel component. The checkbox component is used to display checkboxes in the report. Sub-report component is used to display additional data in different places of the report. The zip code component is used to output the zip code. The table components is a set of data elements that is organized using a model of vertical columns and horizontal rows. A cross table components is used for the structured data as a table. The sparkline component is used to create micrographs. It allows you to track dynamic changes, changing data as bars, lines, and areas. The math formula component is used to display math formulas in the reports. The barcode component is used to display barcodes in different formats with specified data. The shapes component is used to insert various shapes into a report as the basic shapes, equation shapes, block arrows, lines, flowcharts. The charts components is used to display charts in different formats as clustered columns, lines, histograms, areas, ranges, dots, and so on. The gauge component is used to display gauges in different formats as the circulars, vertical linear, or horizontal linear, or even a bullet. It is possible to add maps to the report. You can add maps of the countries, continents, and set the necessary values. It is also possible to add an online map by specifying the latitude and longitude of the required area. Thank you very much for your attention.